Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for clicking on this video to listen to all of this movie news that went on the past week. There is a lot that we need to get through. However, it's not as much as last week because last week I had to make 3 different videos on the movie news that came out. This week I only have to do 1. So let's listen to all of the movie news for this week. So without a further ado, let's get into some movie news. So, let's start out with today's movie news segment with actually not movie news. We're going to be talking about TV news. And the first topic of discussion we got is Star Trek New World. They officially started filming season 4 of the show. Season 3 hasn't even come out yet. It comes out later this year. But season 4 has officially started production, and you can see it on this behind-the-scene picture right here. And for all of you that love Star Trek, I am super excited for you guys to watch this show. I think it's doing well. If they're doing season 4 right now, I'm prepping for it. So I'm hoping that this is a good project, but I am not a Star Trek fan myself or someone that's called a Trekkie. So I am super interested to hear what you have to say about Star Trek if this is your thing. If you do like Star Trek, tell me where to start watching Star Trek because I am not one of those people that have watched it. Do I have to go back all the way back to the 1900s and watch the first couple stuff, or can I start with the new stuff? Let me know in the comments below and what your thoughts are about this new production starting for season 4. Moving on to Marvel discussions, we got Daredevil Born Again, and I actually really did enjoy the first 2 episodes of the show. They did come out, and I thought they were really well done, especially all the scenes where the characters have to talk together and they're just expressing all of their information, what's going on inside their heads and everything like that. However, the action for me was a miss so far. I think everything outside of the suit looks amazing. I think everything inside the suit looks tacky, like the opening scene that we got. I was not a fan of that. However, it is more comic book accurate. So if you want to use a trade-off, I would have much rather honestly had the more fist fight and the stunt choreography version of the original Daredevil show than the CGI stuff. But if you like the Daredevil more comic book accurate version, this is for you. But anyways, we did get interesting news about the release dates for all of the rest of the episodes. So as you remember in my last news video, I did talk about Daredevil only releasing once every week until around March 25th. Then we're going to get 2 episodes that day. After that, for a couple weeks, we are going to get 1 episode per week until we get to the 8th episode, where we have to, after the 8th episode, wait 11 days to get the finale. And I did hear some interesting things about the finale. I heard that it is more of just a setup for season 2, and it's not really concluding anything from this first season. So that is kind of disappointing, where we have to wait 11 days just to kind of close out the story to set something else up. But I will say we've waited this long for Daredevil. I can wait another 11 days for a finale for this show. The other couple of things that I've had is that Punisher is not going to be in this series as much as we would like him to be. Unfortunately, that is one of those things that I wish he was almost in 3 or 4 episodes. He's only going to be in it for a couple of episodes max. So tame your expectations on Punisher showing up. But they did start season 2, and season 2 will now be, instead of 9 episodes, it'll be 8 episodes. But we did get confirmation that Karen and Foggy are returning for season 2. So that is all the Daredevil news going around right now. What are your thoughts on this? Did you like the first 2 episodes of Daredevil Born Again? Did you kind of feel hesitant about them? What are your thoughts? Because I would love to know everything about what you think about Daredevil Born Again. Moving on to the DC news, we did get confirmation just last week when I made my DC news video that we are getting 3 new DC animated projects. One of those was My Adventures with Green Lantern. One of those is called just Superpowers. And then one was called Starfire. So today we're going to be talking about Starfire. And on Instagram threads, James Gunn did confirm that Starfire, the show, will be an Elseworld project. So will not be taking place in the DCU, which is unfortunately kind of sad because I feel like if you're going to give Starfire her own show and show how she has had to leave her planet and how she has to interact with new people and just travel the universe, I think that would be a great show for the DCU. However, it is going to be animated, and I believe he also said that most of these animated projects will always be Elseworld projects, and there's only going to be a select few that are actually in the universe. So there is something for that, but Starfire is not taking place in the DCU. It's an Elseworld project. It's outside of the main continuity now. So, are you still excited for this show, or does this kind of dampen your expectations? Are you still going to check it out? Let me know all of your thoughts on the Starfire show in the comments below. We did just get done talking about a project that's not going to be into the DCU, so let's talk about a project that will be in the DCU, and this is the show Lanterns. Now, we did get a lot of speculation and a lot of angry fans getting mad that this show is not going to be taking place in the outer worlds or outer space, and so this project is going to be mostly taking place on Earth, and so a lot of people were not happy about that, which for me, it didn't dampen my excitement. But we did get confirmation from one of the main actresses of the movie. I'm not going to say her full name because I'm going to mispronounce it terribly, but her actual first name is Porna, and this is how you spell her name. But we did get confirmation that she had said the Guardians and Sinestro will make an appearance in the show, and the Guardians is going to be one of those outer space characters, if you know anything about Green Lantern lore. So it does look like we are going to have some outer world things happening, which will be really exciting for fans, and hopefully it will make people less mad. I'm still excited for the show, but that is just something I wanted to know. So does this actually help your excitement with the show Lanterns, or are you still kind of mad about it being mostly taking place on Earth? Let me know in the comments below. Staying on topic with TV shows, we got a new project set in the Extraction universe. If you don't know what Extraction is, it is actually a movie starring Chris Hemsworth. We actually have 2 of those projects. So we got a new project announced for this franchise, and it's actually going to be a TV show called Mercenary. And this project will star Omar Sy, and he hasn't been in any of the other Extraction movies, I don't believe. If he has, tell me in the comments below. I'm probably wrong about that, but I don't believe he has been, so this will be a new role for him, and I'm assuming he will be the mercenary. However, we did get confirmation that this is going to be setting up production in September of this year, and the showrunner for this show is actually Glenn Mazzara, and he actually did season 2 and season 3 of The Walking Dead. And so are you more excited about the show now, or are you kind of more nervous about the show, knowing that someone from the Walking Dead universe actually is going to help work on this show? Let me know in the comments below, because I know a lot of people are going to be already disappointed with the showrunner itself. But let me know if you're interested in this franchise at all. Another big topic of discussion in the TV show world is actually the show called... Now, if you guys have watched any of my past videos, you'll know that I've actually read all of the Invincible books, and I really do love this franchise. Now, we're closing up on the end of season 3, and if you guys remember, just before season 2, we got a new project in the Invincible universe, which is just a 1 episode of the Adam Eve story. Now, a lot of people thought this was a really good episode, and I thought it was solid. I didn't think it was anything special, but a lot of us were also like saying, if they did one with Adam Eve, they could potentially do one with another character. So we were all taking bets on who the next character would be. A lot of people wanted Rexplode, which was also my choice, or maybe even Battle Beast, because we're getting more comics from him as we speak. And so there's a lot of characters that they could do this with. However, we did get this information from Robert Kirkman himself, and so this is what he said. We'd love to. There's plenty of potential to dig into the backstories of different characters, but right now our main focus is making sure the seasons come out regularly as possible. Meaning that we're not going to get any special presentations or special episodes right now for any of those side characters. We're mainly focusing on the Invincible universe, which for me, I completely understand that, and it makes complete sense. If we're wanting these out yearly and as fast as they are coming out right now, I'd rather them focus on this than do any of those other side projects. So that is something coming up in the Invincible universe. We aren't getting any special presentations or special episodes just right now. However, it's not fully closed door yet. There is potential of it happening, just so we can get new seasons out. They're not doing all of that right now. So are you excited, disappointed, or do you wish that we would just get more stories about the Invincible universe, or even new shows from the Invincible universe? Let me know. For those of you who liked the new Suits show so far, we did get confirmation that Louis Litt is actually returning in 1 episode this season. I don't exactly know when, but he is returning. And then they also said if this show does continue for multiple seasons, that he will probably come back in multiple forms, in multiple ways. So are you excited for Louis Litt possibly returning to the Suits franchise or the Suits universe? He is already confirmed to be in 1 episode of this new season, but are you excited for him to potentially return in more seasons? And what are your thoughts on the new show? Because I have not watched it myself, so I would love to hear what you have to say about the new Suits show overall. With Disney slowing down all their animated projects as we speak, because they're not doing any more animated originals for Disney Plus, the one thing that we did get confirmation on is a live action / animation hybrid of Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. And this is going to be produced and written by none other than Jon Favreau. And so he's going to be working on this project. We didn't get a release date and we don't really know when it's coming out, but a live action hybrid series is coming out for Oswald the Rabbit. Are you excited for this? The last TV show that we're going to actually be mentioning today is actually the live action Powerpuff Girls show. Now this show put everyone in the frenzy on the internet, and I actually never watched the original, so I really didn't care. But this trailer for the live action canceled Powerpuff Girls show did release, and so a lot of people actually ended up watching it. I did hear that the characters are not the same as what they were on the show. They wouldn't have grown up that way that they have been appeared on the show. And then they also said that the monkey, which was the original villain, is now a kid and a dad, which is just really weird. And I'm glad the show got canceled. It would have been on the CW. But if you saw it this week, how mad were you? Because this was a heated topic online for trailers this week, as well as just movies themselves. So let me know what your thoughts were for this live action canceled Powerpuff Girls show. So we talked a lot about shows this week. Now I want to switch over to at least a little bit of video game news. And so we did get some information on Insomniac Spider-Man #3. And so I was super excited to read this. And this was from an interview from Yuri Lowenthal, who actually played Insomniac Spider-Man. And so this is what he said about the third game right here. Peter is not gone. He will be a part of the game and won't be regulated to the couch, I promise. Meaning that he actually is going to be a part of the story and that he's not going to sit on the side. Many of us thought he would be sitting on the side just because they have Miles as the new main Spider-Man. And then they introduced the Silk character at the very end of the game if you played the game. And I thought that they would just kind of throw him on the side. Maybe he's going to have some MJ sort of missions, but they said that he's going to be a part of the game. Hopefully he does suit up as Spider-Man again towards the end, maybe not during the actual whole game, but as the end draws near for this story, maybe he does come back, and I'm super excited for him to do so. I really do love these games. However, I like the first one way more than I did the second one. I do love Venom though, so anything with this, and I want to see the Norman Osborn side of things and how he interacts with Miles. That'd be super interesting to me, but we did get some news on that. There is no release date for anything about this game yet, but there you go. Spider-Man Insomniac he's actually not going to be sitting on the side. He's going to be a part of the story. How do you feel about that? Another game from Marvel is Marvel 1943, The Rise of Hydra. So this will be taking place during World War II, and it'll follow the Black Panther from that time, and then our Captain America that we know today. There is also going to be one Wakandan soldier you can play as, and also another just random soldier from the Captain America side of things. I forget what their names are. You guys can look them up. We already did a story trailer for this game a couple of years back, or maybe just a year back, but this game does look interesting. I hope it's better than the Avengers game. However, we did get a release date for this game of around Christmas time this year. So if you're looking forward to this game and you watch the story trailer, are you excited for it? I feel like I need to see more gameplay before I actually get excited for this, because I only like certain types of gameplay games. And so if this one is going to be anything like what we did with the maybe Marvel Rivals or anything like that, I'm going to be sad. So we may be done with video game news, but that doesn't mean we're done with game news. And so we actually have a new game movie coming out, and it's actually going to be the Monopoly movie. Now this is not like a biopic. This is legit a Monopoly movie. And I looked into who's actually doing this film, and as of right now, what they have is the team from Spider-Man Homecoming, Horrible Bosses, Game Night, and they directed the 2023 Dungeons & Dragons movie. They've done a lot of other projects that aren't great, but the team that is returning has written all those projects. They're not set to direct yet, but if they did, I would actually be happy about that because they've done really good things in the past. So let me know what your thoughts on the Monopoly movie are, and are you even excited about it with the people that have done the Spider-Man Homecoming, Game Night, and all of that other stuff for us. let me know what you thought in the comments below. And since we're talking about games, I'm just going to go ahead and say this, but Netflix did set a release date for Happy Gilmore for July 25th on Netflix. Let me know how excited you are for the sequel, or are you really nervous because of all of the Netflix just producing it itself? I much rather would have had an actual studio do it, but Happy Gilmore 2 coming out on Netflix. Are you excited? For the last topic of game news for the rest of this video, we're not going to be talking about video games anymore after this, but this is going to be Five Nights at Freddy's 2. We did get an interesting casting update, and this is for the character of Henry Emily in the games and in this movie, and he's actually going to be played by Skeet Ulrich. Now, this whole character is actually going to be working hand in hand with Matthew Lillard's character, which is particularly exciting for me because Matthew Lillard and Skeet Ulrich were the original Ghostface in the original Scream movie. And so just seeing them team up as partners again is actually super crazy to me. I love that idea. However, this is more of just like I feel like it's a fan casting at this point, and they're just trying to see and use that Scream faithfulness for this game. However, I'm a sucker for it. I can't wait to see them return as a duo again and maybe kill more people. What are your thoughts on this new Five Nights at Freddy's casting? Since I just did briefly mention Scream, why don't I just talk to you about Scream 7 as a whole? And so this information I'm about to provide you is from a reliable scooper called Daniel RPK. He has a lot of reliable sources in Hollywood. However, not everything that he says does come out factually correct, but this as of right now is the closest we have about more details for Scream 7, and it looks like right here that there is going to be a huge time jump for Scream 7 to age up Sydney and her kids. That was the first thing. The second thing is that this is actually trying to be setting up a new trilogy in the Scream franchise, which I wish that we got a closing movie for the Melissa Barrera and the Jenna Ortega story, but I'm okay with the new story as long as we keep things going. We also got more information, and this one is actually official, but Dewey is returning to the franchise, and yes, he did die in Scream 5, so the fact that he's returning is crazy. However, many people online are speculating that this Ghostface will use AI to freak Sydney and Courtney Cox's character out underneath the mask, and so the killers is actually going to sound like people they care about or that they know. And so this is something super interesting, and all I can say is I'm super excited for this Scream stuff. As you guys may know, Scream is my favorite horror franchise of all time, so I'm here for it. Let us get into some Scream news and Scream details. I love this. What are your thoughts about these people returning though, and do you have any other thoughts and theories about this movie, or are you kind of just meh about it or haven't seen it? Let me know. So real quickly, I'm going to go through a bunch of movie news. I didn't want to spend too much time on this because not a lot of people will love all of these segments, but I wanted to get all this information out to you because I am supposed to be the movie news guy. So here is what I have right now. If you want to hear more of everything that I have, I can actually do another short for you personally and make that for you so that you can have more information on these projects for the best of my ability that I can do that. So the first project we're going to be talking about today is actually Robert Downey Jr.'s first project after this new Secret Wars movie from the Avengers franchise, where he's actually going to be starring in a movie called Vertigo, where he plays a private investigator, just kind of
watching people in the shadows and seeing what they're doing in the shadows.
And so this is a remake for Alfred Hitchcock's one of his classic films. I've never seen the original one, but I've heard really good things about it. So Robert Downey Jr.'s new movie, there you go. We also got this first look poster of The Materialist, and this is a movie starring Chris Evans, Dakota Johnson, Pedro Pascal, and what is said for this movie to be is that the Dakota Johnson character is more of a person that sets people up on dates, and this is supposed to be a romantic comedy movie, and so this will be super interesting for most people. This does come out on June 13th of this year. So are you excited for this film? The next piece of information we got is Matthew Modine, who is also known as Papa from Stranger Things, has been cast in Godzilla x Kong. I don't know what role he's playing, but there you go. Papa is coming back, so there you go. It was confirmed this week by Amanda Seyfried that the Mamma Mia 3 is actually going to happen. They're looking to have this next movie take place in Greece, and the joke was that they actually hope to have this movie out by 2038. I think that's just because of how long it took for them to get the second one out, but there you go. If you're a Mamma Mia fan, that's your information for you. Sacha Baron Cohen's new film also is looking for a 2026 release date. He did have a thing with Universal, however, that kind of fell through. So his new comedy movie is supposed to be released in 2026, and there's really not more information about that. But if you're a Sacha Baron Cohen fan, there you go. All right, if you've seen Paddington in Peru, I have not yet. It is on my watch list. I just haven't gotten there yet. But if you've seen it, the actual writers for this team are actually coming back to do another movie together. However, this one's supposed to be a whole AI movie. So this is supposed to be generated by AI, and it's going to be called CRITTERZ. And so this is going to get a lot of hot topic in the next couple of weeks about just if this movie is even worth doing or if it's even right to do, because this puts a lot of animators probably out of jobs that would have had jobs in the first place. So this one is going to have a lot of hot discussions around it, but what are your thoughts on this new movie called CRITTERZ? It is going to be completely AI generated other than the writing, I believe, but all the animation is going to be top notch is what they're saying. So let me know what your thoughts are about this new CRITTERZ movie. Another piece of information is that Leonardo DiCaprio is going to star in Liam Chazel's new film called Evel Knievel, and this will be a biopic. So there is that for you. Just this past week, when I went to go see Mickey 17, I got to watch a new trailer for a movie called The Life of Chuck. Now, I never saw or even heard about this movie before, but this movie stars Tom Hiddleston, and what ends up actually happening is that this whole movie plays in reverse, and it's based off of a novel from Stephen King himself. The director of this is Mike Flanagan, and so these are a bunch of horror people. So I'm assuming that this is going to be a scary movie, but the whole movie just takes place in reverse on how Chuck lives his life, but it's supposedly supposed to be scary, apparently. I'm excited for this one. I've never heard about it until now, but I think this will be an interesting movie to watch. For all of those who like the Peaky Blinders show, I have not actually seen the show myself, but I am excited to watch it. I just haven't gotten there yet, and I wanted to watch it right before the movie comes out. But we did get confirmation that Netflix is actually going to give this movie a theatrical release, which I am super excited about because they usually don't do this for most of their movies anymore. So, Peaky Blinders getting theatrical release. What are your thoughts on that? Another project I want to mention is about the Narnia movie from director Greta Gerwig, and my excitement for this project is just dwindling very, very quickly. It looks like right here, right now, Charlie XCX, the singer, is actually supposed to be the White Witch in the new movie. Now, it's just in talks right now, but so she hasn't like been confirmed to play the role. But right now, she is supposed to be playing the White Witch, which is just crazy to me. Now, they did say that this is supposed to be more rock and roll. I would have much rather wanted an actual adaptation of the books itself, not a new one, but it is what it is. Narnia, do you like that casting at all? Just this past week, Robert Pattinson was doing an interview for Mickey 17. However, he was given one question, and this was if the Joker is going to be the main antagonist of the new Batman film, and this is what he had to say. He said, yeah, no, I don't know, potentially. Word for word, that's it. Yeah, no, I don't know, potentially. I don't think he'll be the main villain, but if you guys want to read into that more than just read into it, I guess. Take it however you guys want. That's how I'm taking this. So, the Batman 2 news. What's your thoughts? Avatar Fire and Ash also got an interesting update where they said that this is going to be the longest film of the franchise. Now, if you remember, the last movie was over 3 hours and 12 minutes long, meaning that this one could very much well be 3.5 hours or even 4 hours. So what are your thoughts on that update, which is actually insane to me that we could be getting that much out of this next movie? But I am excited because I did really enjoy this last movie. And the last quick information that I have for you guys is actually from Scott Gimple himself, saying that Rick and Michonne from The Walking Dead could actually return in some other future projects. They didn't say which ones. It could be The Daryl Show, it could be Dead City, or it could be a new project, but I'm super excited to see them return either way. However, this was just a tease. This doesn't mean anything quite yet. However, if they did come back, the next main project I really wanted to talk about is actually a project called The Electric State, and this is from the Russo brothers, who directed the first Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. They also did some Captain America films, and so if you watch their track record after the MCU, it has not been good. They have had like The Gray Man, and a bunch of their other films have just not performed well. So I was hoping this one would be their last one to prove that they are worthy coming back into the MCU. And unfortunately, this one got a 19% on Rotten Tomatoes. And they said that they spent $320 million to make that film, which is just mind-boggling because a typical blockbuster spends $180 million max, and they spent way too much on this, especially when this is going to be a streaming movie and not being placed in the theaters. If this was a theater film, they would have to make 2.5 times the budget for this movie, meaning they would have to make around $900 million to be profitable, and you just can't do that on a streaming movie. So this is just mind-boggling to me that they spent that much money, and this movie is going to flop very hard. And this makes me really nervous for Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars because they just have not done a project that's won since then. So if they're coming back to direct this new Avengers movie, I don't know. Maybe they're spent up. Maybe they will work their magic and maybe the MCU is like their thing that they have to work on. But man, this was rough. Like, there's no sugarcoating it. I am nervous. Now, they did also have, moving into Avengers news, they did also have a press conference while they were being interviewed for this movie, saying that they think that the next Avengers Doomsday movie will be about 2.5 hours long, and then the Avengers Secret Wars will be about 3 hours long. So, what are your thoughts on all of that information? There's a lot, but like, are you nervous? Because this one does not seem promising to me right now. Like, I know they've done great films in the past inside the MCU. Like, their track record inside the MCU is amazing, but outside, it is not looking good for them. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Since we're talking about Marvel movies, I might as well mention to you this last piece of information I actually received, and this is about a movie called Planet X. Now, Planet X would be a spin-off Groot movie where Groot returns to his home planet, and I'm assuming that this would be more of a Guardians film with the new set of Guardians, and Groot would just be leading his team to his new home. But it said that Vin Diesel actually had a talk with Disney about it, and that they say that this is one of the most anticipated movies that they're trying to work on and behind the scenes, and they're just trying to figure things out. And honestly, are you excited for a movie like this? I don't think Groot can lead his own film. However, he potentially, I guess, could if he learns how to speak and he can bounce off his other characters. But just a movie by himself would just not do well for me. And I think that we're kind of moving past that. I wish that if they were to do a new movie, we'd get a Guardians film instead. But let me know your thoughts on a new Planet X movie from Marvel. If you remember last week's movie news video, I had about a 49-minute video out online, but I did talk about Ready or Not, and I actually really did like that movie, especially when you go in not knowing anything. And so I watched that film and I was mind-boggled about what happens in that story. And so we actually did get casting information for the second one that they're doing, and this is actually going to be starring Catherine Newton as well. So Samara Weaving is returning, Catherine Newton has joined the cast, and then another piece of information that is just kind of a scoop or just a rumor right now is that Melissa Barrera is actually going to be joining the cast as well, which would be interesting to see because she has been in a lot of things recently with horror franchises, and I like her. And so if her being put in this movie is just gonna level it up, let's do it. I'm excited to see what this new story is, though. I don't know if they can go the exact same route as they did with this first one, but I'm ready to see a new crazy movie from this whole group of this whole team. With Sinners coming out next month, there has been a lot of speculation on what Michael B. Jordan's next project is. Maybe it's going to be Creed 4, maybe it's going to be something else. And right now, it looks like it will be something else. Now, we did get confirmed that Michael B. Jordan is going to be starring in a project called Thomas Crown Affair, and that this actually is starring him, and he's also going to be directing the project as well as someone else is joining the cast with him, and this is actress Taylor Russell. And so she'll be joining the project with him, and this is what the synopsis for the movie is at this point. The story follows a rich playboy who enjoys stealing art for a hobby, but meets his match in an insurance investigator who quickly fall for each other. So this is supposed to be a thief romance movie. I'm not really excited for this film, but I'll let him cook. Alan Cook. So what are your thoughts on just this plot synopsis itself, and are you excited for the cast in this movie? The second to last topic of discussion today is actually a comic book movie, and it's going to be called BRZKR. Now this is from co-creator Keanu Reeves, and he actually is going to be starring in the project as well. And this is taking place of a 80,000-year-old man who actually ends up working for the government. He's basically immortal and is basically just a John Wick version of a character, because Keanu Reeves is starring as him, so I'm assuming it'll just be a very big action movie. But it is set to be rated R, and so that's all the information we really have on it yet. But BRZKR, new comic book film starring Keanu Reeves, are you excited for it? The final project I wanted to talk about with you all today is actually the new Harry Potter reboot show. And if you remember in last week's episode, we talked about how Dumbledore was casted, and so we got really high speculated people that are supposed to be in talks for this role. And so for the first one, we actually got actor Papa Asidiu, and forgive me if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but he is supposed to be playing Professor Snape. This isn't confirmed, he's not been signed on yet, but he's in talks for it. And then the next person is actually playing Professor McGonagall, and this is actress Janet McTeer. And so I know we're not all going to be happy about this whole casting thing in the first place, but are you even excited for how this is supposed to be going right now, or the direction of the show is going right now? Because let me know, are you a big Harry Potter fan? Do you think this is good casting? If you've seen them in anything else, let me know, because I've not seen any of these two actors in anything else. But that was all the movie news we have going on this week. It wasn't anything really major happening, which was also kind of a good thing because we made 3 separate videos last week. If you missed any of that news and want to hear any more information about like the Office reboot that's happening, or some Marvel news or DC news, maybe Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, there is a lot that was talked about last week. Go ahead and head over to another video of mine that's been in the past week for movie news, and you'll find a lot of information, and feel free to skip around for those informations as well, because there is just so much going on. Thank you guys so much for your support, and if you liked this video, please like and subscribe. And again, thank you guys so much, and you guys all take care.